All right, so in this video, we're going to go ahead and edit this truck using UModeler X. And this truck with the lumber is a Polyperfect asset, and it's really nice, modeled very well. But there's a couple things that I might want to change because maybe I want a truck that has no logs on it, right? Or maybe I want to change the size of the logs. But whatever the situation is, with Polyperfect and UModeler X, we can achieve that. So the first thing I will do here is I have an asset here, and currently it's a prefab. So I'm going to right click on this prefab, and I'm just going to simply go down to unpack completely. All right, great. And so with this truck now as a simple mesh, it has a few different objects here that are already separated, right? We have the door here, we have the actual truck body here. So that's the whole truck and including all the pieces, including the logs. And of course we have the different wheels, and all those are already separated. But we want to remove these logs from the back of this truck because maybe there's another object that we want to put here. Maybe we just need an empty truck bed. But whatever the situation is, we can do that pretty easily. Now with UModeler X, there's a few different tools at our disposal. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and right click on the parent here, and I'm just going to go to UModeler X, and I'm going to go to UModelize. All right, and so now that I've done that, if I click on any of these objects now, they're all going to be umodelized, but we really only need the base for now. And the base is basically this whole truck piece. All right, so what I want to do is show you a couple tools here. So if I want to select just these faces and select just this log, I can do one or two things. I can simply select one of the faces on this log, and I can do a isolate. And basically the isolate is saying that, look, this object is part of a whole, but the faces themselves are isolated to themselves, right? They're only associated with this mesh here. So that's great because now I can kind of remove these if I want to. So I can just simply select this, isolate, and delete, and say I didn't want that many here. I can simply just take them and just move them off. And now we have less logs here. And that's really good. But I want to do one bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select one face on each one of these logs here. And what that's going to allow me to do is then hit isolate. And now we're going to select all the logs. And now we're just going to move those off. And so now we have a truck bed that is empty. And now I can put whatever I want here. And so instead, what I'm going to do here is select one of these faces here. And I'm going to go isolate on this log here. And what I'll do is hit detach. And so now what I've done is separated this log from the rest of the object. So now this log is its own game object, right? And you can see that in our hierarchy here. So what I'll do is go ahead and put this in position. I want to kind of lay this down just like so. And I'll do another log as well. So let's do a separate log. So I'll just go ahead and do this one, and I'll do isolate. And I'll move this over here and just go ahead and do a detach. Great. All right. And then I'll just go ahead and move that over there. And the goal of me doing this instead of copying it is just so that I had a couple different styles of logs being put in the back of this truck bed. All right. And so now we have that. And we could now just duplicate this, and that's good. So we don't have to do it. And then when we rotate it, we can kind of make it look a little different there. Awesome. All right, so now we have the bottom bed of this truck here. And so now what I want to do is actually get rid of these unused logs here. So I can just simply make sure I'm only selecting these, and I can just hit delete on the keyboard, and you're all set. And so now what I want to do is take one of these logs and convert it into maybe something smaller. So what I'll do is go ahead and do a Control V, and just copy this log over. And what I'll do is go ahead and rotate this guy here just like so, and I'm going to change the scale. So that's just going to change the scale, maybe even make it a little smaller because these are a little different. And so now we have that. And so that looks pretty nice. And I can just kind of manipulate it a little bit more, make it a little smaller, and it looks pretty good. So now my goal here is to create a host of different logs here and put them in this position like so that these logs are up top, and we're just going to create a row of these logs just like so. And what I'll do just to make sure everything looks a little different, I'll just do a different log for this part and do the same thing. Make it a little smaller, make it a little shorter here like so, and make that work and bring it in. Great. So now I'll do this here. And so now we have a couple different logs here, kind of is designed to kind of fit within this space. And I'll do the same thing with this one to make sure it's aligned in this section. And you can do however you like to go. This is just a demonstration of how quickly you can make and edit your meshes here. Great. And so now we have these here. I'm just going to select some more, and I'm just going to go ahead and put these guys like so. And I think maybe 3 more will get the job done. Yeah, maybe just 2 more. There we go. And so now we have a host of logs here like so, and we can rotate them to kind of give them a little bit of variation so that they're not all the same. And we can even turn some just to add a little variation to make it look a little interesting. There you go. Looks pretty good to me. So now we're good to go there. Now you have a truck bed with some logs here, and it looks great. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is go ahead and create a rubber band around these sets of logs. So what I'll do is go ahead and create using a box tool here, and I'll go ahead and select this here and just kind of create a object like a cube. And this cube is really, the goal is to create a banding effect around our object. So what I'll do is go ahead and select the faces here, and I'm just going to pull this out like so. And I want to make sure that it's a thin band, not too thick. So that I think that would probably make sense like so. And then I'll take this and move it up a little bit like there. And then I'll move this down like this here. So that should give us what we need. And I'm going to make it easy on myself. I'll go ahead and bring this up, and I'm going to select just the edges of this object. So I'm going to select the edge there, select the edge here, select this edge and this edge. And what I'll do is put a bevel on that. So I'm going to head over to the bevel tool here in the add group. And so now we have this bevel tool here, and we can kind of manipulate that as needed, but I'll leave it just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and bring it down. So now we have this kind of covering our object here. So that looks pretty good. And I'll just go ahead and pull this out just a little bit and do the same thing on the side here. Great. And so the next tool, what we want to use is the Inset tool. And so I'll use this Inset tool to create this area just like so. And that's kind of how that would work. And then I'll use the push-pull tool to get rid of that center. Boom. And so now we have this rubber band vibe going on here. And what I can do here now is I can take this and kind of bring it in closer. I can take this and kind of bring it down. Just kind of depends on how you want to go about it. Another interesting way we can actually approach this would be to use a modifier. We can use the plus, and we can do something like this FFD, and that's going to give us kind of like a more uniform movement with this here. And so this works pretty well. And so it gives us a little bit more uniform control around this. and it's going to be pretty good. All right. And so now, this is low poly, so we can just kind of eyeball this here, and there you have it. And so now you have like this rubber band feel that's kind of on your mesh. It's just kind of up to you how you approach it. But the idea is understanding that you have this type of control with this. Great. All right, so now we have this rubber band, and so I can just copy and move it over. That works completely fine. And so now, as you can see, we've created this here. And this again is just an example of how you can take your Polyperfect assets and really turn them into even more unique objects that is specific to your project. Of course, you can pretty much do whatever you want with this, and we can even change the color of this truck if we wanted to, right? All right, cool. All right, well, that was just a quick example of using Polyperfect with UModeler X for this truck.